If you want to achieve financial independence or retire early, then you will need to do 100% of the things I'm about to show you. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 sets of numbers that you will have to know if you want to eventually have enough FU money to declare financial independence or early retirement. Even if you have no interest in FIRE, your financial future will be better off if you know these numbers as well. Hey, I'm Jarrad, and on this channel, we like to talk about all things personal finance and investing. Please Hulk smash that thumbs up button because I pretty much only feel comfortable when I'm around you. You're kind of like the sweatpants of my life. If you haven't thought these numbers through, then it's kind of like walking around outside with your eyes closed and hoping that you're going to make it to your Chipotle destination to get yourself one of those big, fat, delicious burritos. The first number you need to know is your ongoing net worth. Now, I would say that everyone should know this, but it's especially important for my FIRE people out there. You're going to need to know your net worth because it's going to be the ultimate tracker to tell you when you're able to declare financial independence or early retirement. Some people will calculate this differently, but it's basically your assets. So the money in your bank accounts, investment accounts, the market value of your home and things like that, minus your liabilities. So how much you have left on your mortgage or any other debts that you have. In some cases, people will add the value of their car to their assets, but since cars are constantly decreasing in value, it makes sense to just consider that a sunk cost and leave it out of your numbers altogether. One thing that I like to do is break down my net worth one step further between my liquid and illiquid net worth. So if I wanted to say, F it, load all of the available cash into a bag and go live in the woods, then how much would I have in that bag at this point in time? This would be my liquid net worth. Think of things like cash you have extremely easy access to, as well as any money within your taxable investment accounts, since these are pretty easy to get a hold of very quickly. Things more illiquid would be things you can't sell as easily. So this would be your home, because selling a house kind of takes a little bit of time. Your liquid assets wouldn't include your retirement accounts, because if you wanted to have access to those early, depending on the type of retirement account, you'd have to do a backdoor Roth IRA to get some of that money, which takes a little bit of time as well. One thing you're going to want to make sure you have broken down is the different types of retirement accounts and how much you have in each one, because they are not all treated equally. You want to have a good idea of this breakdown. So if you have some of your retirement money in a Roth 401k and some in a traditional 401k, then you want to be able to visually see this so that you know how much you're going to have to complete a backdoor Roth on. If you want to make the whole process just a little bit more difficult, but also be more accurate, you're going to want to keep track of how much of your Roth IRA money is from your actual contributions, because you have access to this contribution money tax-free at all times. This portion of your money would be considered liquid. The last thing that I like to keep track of at the bottom of my net worth spreadsheet is 4% of my net worth. This gives me a very rough idea of how much I can withdraw every year based on the 4% rule. Now, this isn't the exact number, since a big portion of your assets may be tied up in something like equity in your home and things like that, but it's at least going to give you a semi-close idea of where you're currently at in your financial life. As you get closer to your actual FIRE date, you can take the time to break this down in a way where it's a lot more accurate. If you want access to the net worth calculator spreadsheet that I use and update every month, then I'll throw a link down in the description for you to get a copy of it. I'm one of those weirdos that likes to manually enter the numbers in once per month, because it kind of helps me feel a little bit more connected to the numbers and gives me a chance to log into each of those accounts just to make sure that everything is kind of in order. If you're looking for a free piece of software that does all of this for you, then I would recommend signing up for a personal capital account. They do a really good job at allowing you to plug in all of your accounts and doing a lot of the calculating and math for you. I'll throw a link down in the description to create a personal capital account. The next number you're going to want to monitor on a regular basis on your way to financial independence or early retirement is your savings rate. If you track any one number, then this is the most important one. Think of it as the holy grail of financial independence, retire early numbers. You need to get this number as high as absolutely possible if you want to have any chance at achieving financial independence, retire early. In my opinion, at the very least, you need to be at a 50% savings rate, and I would even consider that kind of low if you're trying to FIRE in any sort of reasonable reasonable amount of time. If you need some tips, I made a video on how I save 70% of my income every single month. Link is in the description or somewhere around my head. If you are married and you both earn an income, then you will need to take your combined household income and deduct your total household bills. You may personally have a 60% savings rate, but if your significant other is only at a 30% savings rate, then your combined savings rate is only 45%. If you feel like your savings rate is lacking, then you have to start figuring out where to cut your expenses and how you're going to grow and close that gap by increasing your income. The next number you need to know is the minimum amount of money you need to live on every single month. Not the number you think is about right. We're looking for the exact numbers here. If you already complete a monthly budget, then this should be pretty easy to calculate. All you do is cut out all of the excess spending from your budget to get to that bare bones number. This is going to help give you a good idea of the minimum amount of money that you need to fire. Of course, you may want more than that to fire, but it's always a good measuring stick to see where you're currently at. I also like it from the standpoint of knowing how much you need to live on, just in case you happen to get laid off or the company you work for shuts down completely. Remember that if you work for someone else and they're your only source of income, then your job is not very safe. I've actually found this process to be kind of fun to do, and it actually makes you feel a little bit liberated. About once or twice per year, I'll sit down and go through my budget and cut out anything that is a non-essential. This has been a great exercise to help me keep such a high savings rate. Not only does it remind me of how much I don't need to live on, but it also helps keep me thinking about the areas that I may have kind of let get out of control when it comes to spending. It honestly gives me comfort and confidence that I can easily get by if something did end up happening. If you're bored on a Friday or Saturday night and you're a nerd like me, then you can also build a couple of budgeting scenarios to test out how things would look if a certain life event happened to you. I am a big time weirdo and I enjoy doing this in my spare time. You need to know how much you actually need for financial independence, retire early. This is the actual goalpost that you are aiming for. If you're early on in your FIRE process, then you can get away with not calculating this number immediately since you have a little bit of time. But I would suggest thinking about it sooner rather than later. Once you start thinking about this number, it's going to help you think through some of the variables and help you create a little to-do list for yourself. Plug your investments into a compound interest calculator to get an idea of how your money is going to grow over time. This is where you'd start thinking about if you're going to move to a lower cost of living state, or are you going to stay in your current city or state, which may be a little higher cost of living? Are you trying to pursue fat FIRE, lean FIRE, regular FIRE, barista FIRE, blah 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 FIRE, or even planning on firing overseas? Start thinking about this now and start diving into the type of lifestyle you're okay with living when you're financially independent, or when you eventually retire early. Once again, I put together a whole financial independence retire early playlist for you with all the videos that I've made on FIRE. I'll throw the link down in the description or somewhere around my head. Leave a comment down below letting me know if you've thought about any of these numbers for yourself yet. Don't forget to Hulk smash that thumbs up button and feel free to subscribe if you'd like and want more videos just like this one. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Adios.